what really sparked my interest on real estate was simply like Googling truly like what industry makes the most millionaires.
Two best friends becoming business partners in real estate is not super common.
That's true.
But we just happened to stumble upon that exact situation in Ames, Iowa. This is like, when you see it, then you believe it. Then you're like, and then you get excited about it.
Right.
And then it's all you can think about after that.
That's a really good point too. Like I'll touch into that. One of the benefits of being like so young and like 18 years old and you're thinking these things is like you're so naive to
the
possibility of failure. So we're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, we just met with two dudes and they did it.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be able to do this. And so like,
and then you can't stop thinking about it.
yeah, if you truly believe that it's possible, and like it's cliche, but like everything, like anything actually is possible. But like if you truly can envision this actually working out, then it does.
Welcome back to another Shack in Progress podcast. I am so excited. I've got two guys here. How did we meet? I think
It was through me. It was our boxing class.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Is he doing good?
He's doing great. I actually just got back into it, so.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll have to talk more about
Yeah.
it. So we have Jacob Boo
Buckley.
Buckley.
Yes, sir. It's okay. It's okay.
I
It's a
literally
tough
just
one.
before we started recording, I asked him to pronounce it to me. So Jacob Buckley.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Andrew Hatfield.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining. You had a little bit of a drive. I appreciate you coming out here.
No problem.
I'm glad we worked out. You were just in San Diego?
I was just in San Diego.
What were you doing out there?
You really did your research.
Yeah.
Oh, me and the lady went out to, so we went to San Diego for a night, a little impromptu trip, and then we went up north, stayed in Newport Beach, went to Disneyland. So just a little, life is busy right now, but just a time to take a break and kick it by the ocean. Now we're back.
You got to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Okay. You don't really post much, Jacob. It's hard for me to know.
I know. I
It's
need
either you're
to.
boxing or you're trying to sell a real estate agent. You know, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, just, same stuff. It's business. But I got back into boxing, a lot of lifting, running, which we'll get into as well.
Yes,
But
I have that here.
just
Okay.
working.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, these guys, it's been maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
And we've been connected like through different things, wholesale, real estate, connecting you with a friend of mine. But the one thing that stands out from these guys is that they're not only are they hustlers, like everybody gets called hustlers, but you're consistent and you stand out in such a crowded market of real estate. We all know real estate's like really, really crowded. So I want to kind of, before we get into real estate, into what you guys do now, I wanted to go back to a picture that I found of the start of this.
Oh,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Andrew and Jacob, like it's you guys are two pods in a pea of, or it's three in a pod, but really two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
And you guys have really succeeded together, which is like super noble. But there's this picture of you both. I'll post it on the website, but this is going to be hard to show.
Oh my gosh.
This
No
here-
way.
No way.
How did you?
Listen, you guys posted it, so I just have to go digging. So
I wasn't expecting that far
No?
back.
Okay.
I was thinking like maybe first year real estate.
Yeah.
no,
Like,
no, I'm taking it
That's like
back.
that's like 5th grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That picture, if you guys are just listening, that picture was Jacob and I, and I think it was like 5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll get more into our story, but yeah, Jacob and I mean, we've known each other. So we were, born in the same hospital. We grew up together. So yeah, that's
Hold
hilarious.
on. What did you say?
Born in the same. I mean, we're from this, small town.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Tiny town in Iowa. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
800 people. So we've known each other since you can know anything.
That's really cool. So I guess I kind of want to go back to those days because, whatever happened then, a lot of friends, they grew up together and usually some drama happens
Yeah.
and they end up falling apart and moving on, right? It's very rare to have friends that you grew up with as kids and stick it through that, right? So
Yeah.
take me then, what kind of sparked your friendship, or did you guys just end up growing up together?
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Well, we did sort of have like a little split, but we really became friends like freshman year of high school, and that's really like we were hanging out every day, and we had like a small group of like 10, 15 people that we grew like that was our friends growing up.
Okay.
But like Drew and I stuck together like later junior, senior year of high school. But for Drew and I think it became more of a brotherhood.
Okay.
I think that's what like separates from like your friends in high school. Like I feel like you always have that one that stands out as more like a brother
Very true.
than the others, and that's like how I feel about Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in the way, like, we just kind of, Jacob and I just spent so much more time together, and we just, like, meshed in a different way than I've ever had with anybody else. And then I remember we were sitting in a hot tub, and I was like, we're moving out of state when we graduate. And he was like, all right, I'm coming. And then it was just like, from there, it was just like, okay, cool. Like,
That's crazy. So you went through all through high school. Were you guys planning on staying in that city the majority of your life, or what sparked that move?
no, not at all. Not at all. Ever since I was like, you go back to literally first, second, third grade, like I've always known for sure I was not going to live in Iowa the day that I graduated high school. Like, I'm done. I'm going somewhere. I'm doing something. And then in high school is when I realized, like, okay, I want to do real estate because it seems like this is the industry to be in, industry that makes the most self-made millionaires. Like, sign me up for that. No college. Perfect. I hate school. And then so I already had my mindset on real estate. And then Jacob, really hopped on because we had a job shadowing for one of our classes. We had to go job shadow somebody in an industry. And so I job shadowed a realtor, and he said, can I come with you?
Okay.
And then we met 2 agents back in Iowa, and then they had a team. And so that's kind of, we got the idea. We're like, well, let's go start a team. And so then we, just chose somewhere in the United States, and Phoenix was where we chose.
So, okay, can you tell me a little bit about your family's background, right? It was real estate in their lives, or what was that?
Zero.
Yeah.
What do your parents do?
Well, my dad's a truck driver,
Okay.
and my mom used to work for the city of Ames, but unemployed now. But so yeah, nothing to do with real estate. Nowhere to like not grandparents or anything.
Nothing.
Yeah,
No.
brand new for both of us. Yeah.
Okay,
My
what
dad, he owns a roofing company,
Okay.
and my mom is a server. So
Wow.
yeah, I pretty much
That's
no.
Midwest right there.
Yeah, it's very Midwest.
Yeah.
yeah, Golden Corral.
Yeah.
No, but it's it just wasn't. I mean, I have no entrepreneurs. I mean, well, not true. I grew up around entrepreneurs, but just like no like real estate or anything like that. But I think I just gained this entrepreneurial mindset. And again, I'm not even kidding. I hated school. Right? I hated school.
That's
Definitely.
how it starts.
Yeah, and so it's like you got to figure out something, and just had the drive to not work for somebody else. So I'm just doing my own thing.
Okay, so you guys get through middle school. You're probably not thinking too much about life, like where you're going to end up, just having some fun.
Yeah.
Midwest fun sounds like dirt bikes and ATVs.
Hell yeah.
That kind of,
Out
Yeah,
on the
it's very
farm,
true.
a lot of fires, a lot of
Oh,
fire
okay,
pits out in
okay.
farms. Yeah.
Campfires, wake surfing,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Behind
it's
boats.
funny that I know this because just that's what they portray the Midwest to be. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
it's
It's as advertised.
Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up, you're going through high school, because it's really intriguing to me. You either grew up with a family with some real estate background,
Mm-hmm.
or you like cold turkey, you want to give it a shot and then fail, because most people end up just giving up.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause it's
Seriously.
not easy.
yeah.
So was there like a Rich Dad Poor Dad book? Like what sparked the interest?
It was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I guess that we found that over time. But so I don't know. I guess what really sparked my interest on real estate was simply like Googling, truly like what industry makes the most millionaires. And then we actually coincidentally we found Austin Zabak,
Yeah.
and who like now we've had him on a podcast, which is crazy, like Circle of Life. But I remember like being 12 years old watching Austin Zabak. And just like seeing like, how does this work? Like, I don't get this. I don't understand this. And then actually we really thought more about real estate investing first. It was like, okay, how do we own houses and, have income that we don't really have to work for essentially.
Right.
And then through that, we were listening to Bigger Pockets podcast.
Oh
Yeah.
And then they were talking more about being an agent than the investing side. And so then I was like, okay, well, we should probably be in the industry too. And so then that's when the agency kind of thing happened. Probably freshman or sophomore year of high school is when I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
started studying.
And that's what really drew me to Andrew, because small town.
Right.
We had 100 kids in our class in a small town, Iowa,
Holy moly.
and not like nobody's thinking about stuff like that in our
100
grade.
people?
Yeah, 100 people in our class, but nobody. You don't hear anybody talking about that, but that's what Andrew's talking about,
Oh,
and
I
that's
see.
Andrew's the one listening to Bigger Pockets junior year of high school, and he's the one talking about that, creating those ideas already.
Right.
So that's why I was like,
You felt the momentum.
Yeah.
Like you can't be left behind on something like that.
Yeah.
Like I would be the same way.
100%.
What about your friends in high school? What, not to, just kind of give you perspective. Like, are they still there? Did they move out here? Like,
I think there were only 5 people in our class that moved out of the state of Iowa.
I don't believe you. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it's
Well, we're
crazy.
2 of them, which I think we're like practically one because we're the same.
Yeah.
We're the same people pretty much.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, nobody really moves, dude. I mean, that's kind of one of those things. Like such a small town, 800 people.
Right.
Your parents are from there. Your grandparents are from there, and you kind of just stay around. Like you just, you plant your roots, and that was one of the reasons we left so quickly. Like we left like 2 weeks after high school, was because it was like we do not want to get roots here. Like I don't want to find a job and say, okay, cool, I'm actually making decent money. I don't think I need to move to Arizona. Like I didn't even want that possibility. So I was like, let's go, let's just get out.
And that's a lot of teachers told us that, like, during high school, they were like, I did want to move out and like explore a little bit or go try something new, but I ended up getting married or finding the job, my career, and I got kind of just stuck here. So we were like, we listened to that advice. And
So you hear these voices and you start thinking, if I don't do something, I'm going to be end up here.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, for lack of better terms, balls to just up and move.
Oh yeah.
My wife and I moved from Florida for some of the same reasons. Like you end up not leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you don't take that shot, it's always going to be in the back of your
Yeah.
mind, like, what if?
Yeah.
And maybe you move out here, you fail, but at least you tried, right?
100%. Yeah, I mean, what's the worst that could have like actually happened? Like, and it's not like we've thought about moving back to Iowa too. Like, it's not like that was never in the cards. Like a handful of times, like we went month to month on our apartment back in the day, and like we were ready to move back to Iowa. Like that was a real thing.
We almost did a couple times.
Wow.
And we just never did. Like it was just like, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I mean, especially in the real estate industry, like, okay, it's already hard enough to convince somebody who's 18 years old to sell the most expensive thing you'll ever own, let alone they're not from here, let alone they just moved here and they have no clue what's going on.
That's really, really, really powerful because most 18-year-olds are more under their parents' house, right? Kind of listening to their rules. And in this day and age, a lot of times 22 is like you're an adult, right? 18, you're still kind of figuring things out. So I guess what in your childhoods that you could recognize brought you to that point of like, hey, I'm out of here? Like, were you 5 or 6 and kind of like dreaming of another world? Was that you?
Oh, 100%. Okay. Well, like I come from zero wealth. There was a time point in my life that like I had a stepfather who was really wealthy. And so he kind of showed me like that side of the fence. Like, okay, here's what life looks like when you have money. And there were a lot of things that are attractive, and I also learned things that were unattractive about having so much money. But anyways, so I kind of had like this weird in between of a childhood where like on one side I was like really, had no money at all, no Christmas kind of thing. And then the other side of my childhood was like could have everything I wanted. And so I kind of was stuck in this in between, but I really got to choose, that's where it fed from, was like, okay, I need to create. Like,
so you don't have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You lived it.
Yeah, he literally lived the Rich Dad Poor Dad life.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like decided like, okay, I gotta create this. Like no one else is like, this just doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you got to really go out and get that. So just figured out how I was gonna create it.
Yeah. So then with him kind of, focused on that world, right?
Yeah.
You have to make that decision for yourself too.
Yeah.
So what brought you to that point? Obviously you guys are good friends. That's one.
Yeah.
But you also got to think for yourself. What made you take that jump with him?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were, like during high school, I knew like sophomore, junior year, I really knew I did not want to go to college. I was pretty stuck on that. Like college was just not an option for me. And then when we went and did that job shadow, and it worked out really good. I mean, again, like a small town, and like 2 best friends becoming business partners in real estate is not super common.
That's true.
But we just happened to stumble upon that exact situation in Ames, Iowa. And so like seeing those 2 guys and how successful they were, shout out Jake and Jace, the
Jake
courts team in Iowa,
Cool. Yeah.
super good guys. But how successful they were, just seeing how possible that was, I was like, oh, this is like, when you see it, then you believe it. Then you're like, and then you get excited about it.
Right.
And then it's all you can think about after that.
That's a really good point too. Like I'll touch into that. One of the benefits of being like so young and like 18 years old and you're thinking these things is like you're so naive to
Yeah.
like
Yes,
to
you
like
are.
the possibility of failure. So we're like, oh my gosh, like we just met with 2 dudes and they did it.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be able to do this. And so,
Yeah.
like,
And then you can't stop thinking about it. You
So
just
true.
you have to do it.
yeah, if you truly believe that it's possible, and like it's cliche, but like everything, like anything actually is possible. But like if you truly can envision this actually working out, then it does. Like you'll there's no plan B. I mean, you just
Yeah.
keep hustling until it does.
You burn your bridges. Like there's no safety net.
No.
Yeah, there isn't.
Right. And that's the differentiator. Like, I'm not a real estate podcast, right? I'm an entrepreneur or, creator, people who want to make it, right?
Yep.
And there's an ongoing theme with everybody. And we just took a shot.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. There's a whole other side to this. There are people who live their entire life without taking the shot,
Yes.
right? And I grew up with my families. They took the shot and they failed and they just kind of like cowered back, right? So I commend you guys like taking the shot at a young age, and I'm excited to hear some of these failures because that's where the gold is, right?
Yeah.
Failing and then making it to where you're at now, and you're still going, right? Like, I'm sure you guys still have a long ways to go. You just got your house, so that's really congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
But just before we go into that, I want to stay a little bit in high school because there's a really neat picture of a guy that I have here, and he looks like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air apparently. And it looks like you were prom king. Is that you?
No
That's
way.
hilarious.
Yeah. So then
Yes.
So-
So homecoming court.
Okay, so
Yep.
you were prom king.
No, not
No?
prom
Oh,
king. I
homecoming
didn't
court.
win.
Oh, you didn't win. Okay.
That was my buddy Ethan won that. And you
Okay.
know what? I love Ethan, so I don't hold that grudge. Just
All
a
right.
little bit, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
either way, you're looking sharp.
Yep.
So this brought me to kind of your life. Like, there's a little bit of popularity going on. You know, high school, you got to kind of stay above. You stay above board, be a part of that.
Yep.
And for you to make it to the court, that's pretty cool. Your family looks. Is that your mom and dad?
It's my mom and my stepdad.
I remember your step. Okay, gotcha. Well, you look great in the suit. Looks
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
And then I saw this of you, Jacob.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is that the same age as that?
Yeah,
or-
that's probably similar. That's my triathlon days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, similar.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm. What really intrigues me is the power of you both together, but you guys are also different.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And I'm sure you guys can touch on the strengths and weaknesses of each and how you guys like work together. But being going into triathlons, right? That's like mental fortitude, discipline,
yeah.
all 9 yards, right? Why at such a young age did you want to do that?
It was mostly from my dad. So my dad was like a massive runner, and like the thing about triathlons that I liked was it was not like I was the only person in my high school that did triathlons.
I mean,
So
that's
did-
a lot of high schoolers that are not going triathlons.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
So like for me it was something unique. I liked running from my dad, and also just seeing my dad. The smile on his face, like packing up all the stuff to go to
that's
these trials,
awesome.
like the bike,
Yeah.
all the swim gear, all the running gear. Like he's up at 3 a.m. packing it all up so I can sleep in, and
That's
he's the
awesome.
most. He was more excited about it than me. So
I love that.
that was like the biggest reason. But it is also, it is mentally tough.
Right.
So
Training to get to that point is all the work. Like the actual day is probably not that long. I mean, it's
Yeah.
long, it's hours.
Yeah.
But you train for weeks before that, right?
Yeah.
So how does this? I mean, you're athletic too. You're running, and I'm sure you look like you're pretty athletic in high school. Did you play sports or anything like that? What did you play?
Pretty much all of them.
Okay.
For a while, like I played baseball my freshman year until I realized, like, okay, in the summer I need to get a job, and so I stopped playing baseball so I could start making money. And then wrestling for a while. That was fun. That's unbelievably difficult. That's the hardest sport I've ever played. Football. So what you see there, and like I'll kind of get into it because you kind of did, was like football. I played my entire life, and then I broke my ankle and my leg in high school football, and so then that's when I switched. I was like, okay, well I can't play football again. Like it's kind of out of the picture.
Yeah.
And so I switched over from being on the field to like running the student section. That was my job. And so I instead I was like, all right, now we're community building. So we're going to create the best student section possible.
I see.
And we did.
We actually started the tailgating too for our football.
So you're talking about student section, meaning like here's the game, and there's a section just for students. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
And you guys were in charge of handling that.
Creating the atmosphere to be the best as possible. And it actually, even on the news, we actually got recognized on the news.
Yeah, we did.
Someone said, this is the craziest student section in the state. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was like a fun, like, like he said, like we started tailgating and we started like, okay, we're bringing loudspeakers before the game. Everyone's getting riled up. During the game, we're creating community, different things. And so we'll get into creating community, but that's when it really all started. Was I broke my leg and figured out like, okay, we got to, support the troops somehow.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories out there that end up, a tragedy actually turns into like a miracle for them. Like it takes them to a whole other level. So I'm seeing bits and pieces of how all of this plays out to where you're at now. I'm curious to ask, just because of what you're saying, building community, bringing loud music, getting people together. I grew up in church, and that's where I learned a lot of like ways to do that. Is that you guys grew up in church in your city or anything like that?
No, I did not grow up in church, but I will say I recently, like in the last year, I found the church, and so I became a full-time Christian, I guess you could say.
That's great.
And that's made a huge difference in my life. But you're right, building community, that also does happen within the church.
That's
so
church, yeah.
that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, I'm thinking small town,
Yeah.
something. Okay, y'all went to church too.
Yeah.
That's the Midwest thing too. But
It
if
It
not,
is. It is, but no. To be honest, no, I did
You
not.
guys
I
didn't go
was-
to church?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you go to church or not?
Yeah. For most of my childhood, till like 16, then I kind of got
Did your
out
own
of
thing?
it.
Yeah.
And but now I'm back into it a little bit more too. So
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're here, fast forward a little bit, which really helps me understand building community is a skill in itself, right?
it is.
And maintaining this community is another work in itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Full time, you're on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like in our day and age, that's what we do. Like we're on our phones, we're posting some of the most vulnerable things so that people can be closer to us, right? So I want to attach this to your entrepreneurial life and business. And what can you say? Like, did social media give you your opportunity in real estate? Was it a big playing part? Do you think that without social media, would you be able to get to where you're at today?
Yes and no. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have said social media is a huge part. But now, looking back on it, I think just being being a local, just good person will get you farther. I think the biggest thing in real estate is you just got to be able to make friends. Like, as long as you can make friends, and they trust you to be a good friend, they'll probably trust you to, use you to be their realtor too. So
Right.
I think, but with that too, comes building community. Like, if you want to scale your business, then it's like, okay, how do you build a community? Whatever it is, right now we have a run club like that, and that's something that we've done. So it's like, how do you build a community and then turn it into something that could, create you more friendships, which will then create you more business opportunities. So I would say the way I used social media was I never really got deals from social media necessarily, but the biggest way was it was always like a walking, certificate of success, I guess you could say.
Right.
And so if you were to look me up, you could always find that I was doing something. You could always find that I was very active.
True.
You can always see what I'm up to. And so, I think it's it shows. I'm glad I did it. I don't do it as much anymore.
Right.
But I'm glad I did it because you can look back and see, you can see my
Yeah, it's your
story.
business card. Do you? If I ask for a business card right now, do you guys have some?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's still a thing.
Still a
People
thing.
still ask for business cards nowadays.
Yeah, it does
Okay.
happen. It does
Okay.
happen. But,
Okay.
But more than that, we just pull up our Instagram.
Yeah, that's what
Say
I'm
follow our
saying.
Instagram. We'll
Yeah.
give you our card if you don't have Instagram for some
Exactly.
reason. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and were you a social media kind of guy, or did you have to grow into it?
I'm still trying to grow into it, to be honest. It's funny because I was just saying the other day, I was like, I wish when you're being an entrepreneur, you didn't have to do social media.
True.
But
Yeah.
no, I'm learning to enjoy it. Get more confident with it too. That's a
Right.
huge thing
Yeah.
that you got to overcome with social media. But I think the big thing is with the run club, and I think more for us is when we meet people in person. That's the biggest thing for
I
us.
see.
That's what we're the best at, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were bartenders for a while in Scottsdale,
Right.
so a lot of our clientele came from just meeting people at the
Yeah.
bar.
Talking to people.
Mhm.
Okay.
And now with the run club,
Yeah, you guys mentioned this run club.
Yeah.
Right? So that's more recent from
It
what I can
is.
see. Is this is it mainly for running, or is it mainly a bigger picture, a community to funnel some business from it, or a little bit of both?
Gosh, I'd say it's like 100% both.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
So basically, where the idea came from was that we bought a house in a really, really cool neighborhood called Eastmark. And so with that, it was like, okay, this is a massive neighborhood, right? 3,000 homes. This is a huge area. And of course, like, we got to figure out how we're going to pay for this house, right? So
Right,
we got to monetize this house.
Yep.
And so it was like, okay, well, I think the biggest thing is we need to be able to like go to the grocery store, and we need to always be able to run into someone we know. And how do we do that? Because we've lived here for 5 years now, and like, yeah, I can still go anywhere and nobody knows who I am, which is cool. But like at the same time, you know, in this business, like, you kind of got to be known. And so it's like, how do we get known in this community? It's a massive community. And so I watched Scottsdale Run Club grow from like 5 to 500 people in like a couple months. And I was like, okay, like, there's clearly a market there.
Yeah.
Right.
People love fitness. People are always either trying to stay fit or get fit.
Right.
And it's kind of like in-person dating too. Like it's like guys and girls.
funny.
Guys,
We're doing a Tinder run for Valentine's the day after Valentine's Day. So
No
yeah,
way.
if you're single, you're coming wearing pink, and if you're taken, you're wearing red.
Yeah.
You guys
So
hear
people
that?
know,
You
yeah.
know where to
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
but
Do you wanna found? Yep.
That's crazy.
yeah, essentially though, it's like I'm looking at a way like, okay, what communities can we grow that would like actually serve a purpose, good value prop to people. And historically speaking, every run club that I've seen that just grew insanely fast. And so it was like, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be really good at our marketing. And I mean, it is. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, we've had like 28,000 views on the profile.
That's awesome.
Went from 20 to 180 followers, and we're expecting 40 to 50 people at a run.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah.
From starting when?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
That decision, that was an idea, right? Just sitting at your house and you're wanting to do something. The idea starts, and then most people end up just stopping there.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the 2 weeks. Let's focus on these 2 weeks. There are some downfalls. There are some hard points in the 2 weeks. There's a bigger picture of hard points, but let's start here. What are some of the hard points of getting to this point with just this Instagram?
Yeah. The idea came at probably in like December. So we thought about it, I guess, probably a month and a half ago, I'd say. And so then the hard points were getting us all together to like come up with how we were going to brand it. Like, how do we actually make this happen? Like, I have no clue, like,
Right.
what is our branding strategy going to be? So studying other run clubs all over the country, like, okay, what kind of content are they doing?
Nice.
What are they doing with their community? Like, how is that working? And then I'm not a runner. I still don't run at this club. I'm just I'm the organizer.
You're the runner.
Yeah, I'm the runner.
But so I can lean on him and say, okay, like, let's build a route that is successful. And so I lean on Jacob. I'm like, okay, how far should we run? I have no clue. I literally do not know. I've never ran more than a mile in my life. And so I'm like, okay, Jacob, you go make the route. You make something that's attractive from a runner's perspective, because you understand the mindset of a runner. I don't. I know how to build community, and he knows how to get people to run.
Right. I like that. So how do you formulate a good run? Like, it's like, how do you do that? And then two, did you have your first run already, right?
We've had 2 so far.
Yeah,
yep.
two. And how did those go, since you're the one that was leading those?
Oh, they way better than I would have ever imagined. Honestly,
Really?
yeah. We thought the first run was just gonna be the 3 of us, and it ended up 15 people showed up.
No way. That's
and
awesome.
it was an amazing time. They absolutely loved it. And then this past week we had 17 people.
Wow.
And yeah, just the responses like through the DMs of the Instagram are just, it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
Just like people have been waiting for this apparently. Like
Wow.
people say I've lived here for almost 6 years and I've been waiting to see a run club pop
What?
up. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's awesome.
So
yeah.
the idea is now legitimate. It's
Yeah.
not a concept, and people are wanting it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what are the goals for this run club? More short term. Like, what are you guys trying to get to? Are there milestones you're trying to meet? Like, what's going on with it?
Yeah. I'd say like 50 runners would be really cool. You can tell them about like the marathon and stuff.
Yeah, I think like one goal I have is to get at least like 15 people from the group to go do a marathon together,
Oh, wow.
like as a group, like, and then we can like work towards a goal together,
Right.
and like keep each other accountable,
Right.
Because that's what a community, that's what it should be.
Agreed.
So we're gonna be picking a marathon here soon to work towards as a group. So
I love that.
And
Yeah.
and really, more than anything, though, like truly, it's actually just building friendships. Like
yeah,
it's so funny to watch us be like the point guard of friendships because, like, I'm not kidding you. Every time we've sat in the sauna, because we go to the gym, so we sat in the sauna, and like it's like, hey, what's your name? And this guy, I'm gonna use his name. His name's like, I'm Danny. And he's like, do you like to run? He's like, yeah. I'm like,
We got to run
you want
club.
to come run? And he's like, yeah, actually I've been wanting to like make more friends my age in the area. And I'm like, well, this is the place to do it. And now we're all in a group chat with like 7 people that I did 2 weeks ago. I had no
Yeah.
clue who they were.
That's awesome.
And now we're like, playing pickleball.
yeah,
and
we're
doing
playing
stuff
in
that.
like pickleball. We're all doing 75 hard together. Like,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really cool.
That's
It's sweet.
really hard nowadays to build a community that's that close knit.
yeah.
And it is a skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people can go to a grocery store their entire life and never say hi to somebody in the aisle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it takes a bit more confidence to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, hope you're having a great day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very used to it. It's like natural to say hi to people.
Yeah.
But, that's something you have to learn. And then
Yeah.
being able to get them to join your phone, get their phone number, put them into your contacts, and start texting them randomly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not normal. It's not something that
Yeah.
people just do
Yeah.
every day, right? So that skill set, now you're doing this, but tell me how this has transitioned or how you took this from real estate, because obviously you started in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
How does that correlate? And when did you guys start talking to people when you got here in Scottsdale? Like, were you guys just like talking to people left and right? How did you guys get your first deal?
Oh my gosh, our first deal.
First deal was from an open house, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say initially speaking, maybe now more, but like initially speaking, we were not the kind of people that was just going to go up. Like, we weren't going to go up and just talk to random people. Like, this is not who we were.
Yeah.
We didn't have our confidence. So like we
Yeah.
felt like now looking back, like you really, once you turn a corner in like success, so to call it, and we're not, overly successful or anything, but we can say we've turned a corner from where we used to be.
Right.
Now we have like a proven recipe, and so now I know that I can do you good. Like I know I can do a good
Yeah.
service for you. So it's different. Now I can go up and talk to people. Before I didn't even know what I was selling. First deal came from an open house that we were running, condo. This couple came up and was like, hey, we are thinking about selling our condo. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like,
I'm like, I'll stay at the open house. You go get that.
yeah, Jake's like, go downstairs. Go downstairs. So I go down.
Awesome.
I got downstairs and they show me around. I'm like, all right, cool. And the one we were sitting was like $325, and theirs is much nicer. And they're like, I'm like, oh, what do you want for it? And they're like, anything above $330. And I was like, what if I could do you like higher than that? Anything higher than that? Like, what if I was talking like 350, 360? And they're like, well, that'd be life changing. I'm like, all right, perfect. We sold it in like 4 days for 368, and they were very thankful. They had no clue that like that was possible, and for us, like that was literally our first deal, all off the whim. I mean, you're talking like YouTube. how do I write a
Yeah,
contract?
I'll get you back to you. And you're like just looking up stuff, and
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Gosh, I
man.
wish we had ChatGPT back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's like just YouTube and just like kind of figuring stuff out as we go. And
So leading up to that point, getting to the open house, you guys move here. You guys drove here, I suppose.
Yep.
You get an apartment. You don't have jobs.
Nope.
You just landed.
Yeah.
From that point to getting the first deal, how much space was there? How much time?
oh my gosh, a
It
long.
was like 10, 11 months.
Yeah, I think like we closed our first deal on the 11th month
Yeah.
Wow.
of grinding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So you guys had to get jobs in between,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 That's what
Restaurant.
kind of makes it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the move. If anybody's listening to this and they're like young and they're like, okay, I want to get, because the reality is like you do somewhat need a vehicle if you're gonna stay in this business. Because you said it earlier, like there really is like a 90% fail rate in this industry. Like no kidding, easily. And so if you're gonna stay in it, you got to be able to feed yourself while doing it. Otherwise, you'll run out
Right.
eventually. So we were a restaurant industry, and I recommend that to anybody because where else can you clock in for 4 hours, make $400 in cash, and leave without any responsibility. So that really fed us.
Yeah.
And like when you're in the restaurant industry too, and you have your real estate license, like people spend all day lead generating. But when you're at a restaurant, if you're a server, a
You're
bartender,
talking to people, yeah.
you're getting paid to lead gen is how I
That's
look at
so
it.
true.
So
Yeah.
like it's so worth it to be in the restaurant industry while you're getting into real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
our biggest deal ever comes from,
Oh yeah.
a certain
Came from the bar.
yeah, comes from the bar.
Yeah.
It's like
Do you
it's-
guys know other real estate people who are in restaurants at the moment?
I think
like-
most.
Yeah.
Okay,
a lot.
okay,
Yeah.
so-
Actually,
okay,
quite
so
a
it's
bit.
a thing,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
great. So it's a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
A lot of young realtors, like we're kind of at the point where we're turning the corner, because the thing about real estate is like you gotta let stuff build up over time. So now we've been in it for 4.5, like coming on 5 years, maybe even more at this point. Honestly, I don't even remember.
Almost
but
5 years, yeah.
5 years,
Yep.
yeah. So now we're at the point where it's like we don't need to lead gen every day,
Right.
like we used to. Like it used to be like 4 or 5 open houses a week. Now it's like, okay, not random, but like past clients' sister is
Referral,
texting
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
now we're at like a referral status more so that we
Yeah.
can sit back and let
So
it lead gen
The
itself.
snowball effect.
That's true.
Yeah.
The
That's
snowball's
very true.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to wait. That's the thing is like that 90%, that fail rate is after year 2. And it's year 2 because that's when your license expires. And so if your license expires, you got 90% of people saying, oh, man, that wasn't worth it. I'm going to
Yeah.
go do something else. But you get the 10% of people that are like, that sucked, but give me another 2 years.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
Let,
yeah.
Me, let me try this again. Give me another 2 years. Sign me up. And then that was us.
So where was the 2-year mark was where things started to turn around, or when was that turning
Yeah.
point
It was
for you
like
guys?
it was more like the 3-year.
3-year mark?
Yeah.
Third year.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Third year. And then this last year, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is like we were always on someone else's team, and then we just crazy life events happened, and we decided, you know what, let's branch off, let's start our own team. And
Yeah, your last names are so cool together for your own team.
you think
It's
so?
like, oh, 100%.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
I was
yeah.
like I was doing my little thing, making your picture for my podcast.
Have you ever seen the show Suits?
No, I haven't. I've heard about this
Oh,
all the
okay.
time. I need to watch the show.
So that's kind of how I came up with that team name, was because like when you're an attorney and you get to like the highest point of where you're at,
Yeah.
you get your name on the wall. Like that's the biggest thing. So
I
then
see.
like it'll be the last names that's the name of the firm.
It's just cool
So,
names, man.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to butcher it again because I already forgot. It's
I know,
so
it's
hard.
Bruce Lee Buckley.
Bruce Lee Buckley,
Yeah.
Hatfield, and Buckley.
Yeah.
I'm sure so many people butcher your last
Oh,
name, so
yeah,
it's like
it's-
impossible. But it's just cool to see together, and I could see that. Like I could see the future. It's like you guys grow up, you guys have families, you have kids, you have your thing now, and it's your names are right there,
Yeah.
your last
Yeah.
name. So it feels like a household name already.
Thank
It
you.
feels like it's been around for a while. It feels kind of homey, so it's a really good idea.
Well,
appreciate
yeah, and
that.
that was the whole point. Like when we started the team, it was like, okay, what are we chasing here? We're chasing to be able to work with every single clientele. So, if they're 70 or 80 and they're retiring, they should look at our brand and say, like, wow, that is clean, that is sophisticated, and the name is sophisticated. Perfect. Our logo and signs should be able to sit at a $200,000 house, and they should be able to sit at a $3 million house, and you shouldn't be able to tell the difference. And so then the other thing too is like, okay, then we need to get the younger crowd. Well, what's good? Apple, Serhant. Like we're looking at those logos,
Yeah.
and we're like, okay, like these are just
Cardone, like
yeah, it's just last names, clean font, black and white, very simple. Not doing too much, not finding a crazy name, no crazy colors.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we pretty much went off of Apple.
Yeah, the simplicity of it makes it feel very posh, put together. But like you said, you can go to a $200,000 house and post it up.
Yeah.
So I like that you guys are both. You're at this age. How old are you actually?
22.
22.
22. Perfect. You're at this age where there are 22-year-olds that got money. They're looking to buy houses, right? But you also have to cater to my age, like we're 30 and older, right? So what that challenge, because you guys said you got here, you were young, and it's like how to sell a house to somebody that's 20 years older than you. What did you guys do to overcome that challenge?
Yeah. Well, I grew out my beard. Yeah. For starters. I remember one of the first open houses we were sitting, someone walked in and said, "Are you guys the realtors.
Yeah.
And
No way.
they didn't believe us. They made us show them our cards. So
No way.
yeah, that was a slap in the face. It was like, all right, like I get how this works.
Right.
And so yeah, grew out the beard. And then the biggest thing though actually was just like you got to be the smartest person. Like you have to know your stuff. Like
Right.
okay, so you might not trust me because, this person's been in the business for 10 years. Maybe I've only been here for 2. But I mean, just give me a chance to show you what I know. Like, give me a chance, and like now I can look back and I have a list of accomplishments that we've done. But
Right.
at the time, it was just like I got to be the knowledge guy. We got to know everything that we can possibly know, and just make ourselves stand out that way. And then if you talk confident, if you talk with your chest out, you talk like you know what you're talking about.
true.
And they're not even gonna ask your age. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Most people think I'm 30 anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beard does do that.
The amount of people coming into open houses asking if he has kids is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So where's your beard?
That I'm wondering the same thing. I was hoping you weren't gonna bring it up.
Yeah, ask his dad. Ask his
That's
dad.
funny.
So-
Still working on it.
Yeah, it'll come. It'll come.
Okay.
I think though, like I'll plug my mom real quick. One thing she told me before I moved out here was like, I was stressed about like school, the real estate school that is, and she's like, all you got to do is sell yourself. And I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, no, like you don't get it. Like I got to sell a house. Like
Right.
I got to like learn how to do that.
Hundreds of
and she's
thousands
like,
of dollars.
yeah, and she's like, Andrew, no, you don't. She's like, all you have to do is sell yourself. And so I didn't understand at the time. Now looking back, it's so true. If you can talk confidently, and we learned this behind the bar too.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
talk with our chest out like it's going to be good. It's a good product. And yeah, people buy it pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
I love that. What did your parents think? I forgot to ask you. What did they say when you told them you're moving out here? Like,
You go first.
Oh, they loved it.
really?
Oh yeah. I know.
I
A
was
lot.
thinking
A
the
lot of
opposite.
people think the opposite, but they trusted both Drew and I, like, and they knew what we were coming out here to do,
Right.
and I think they trusted that we were really gonna try to do that. So
Right.
I think that's why they were super happy about it, and I mean, place for them to come visit
Oh,
is
true.
always a bonus.
That's crazy.
From
I
Iowa,
was
so-
thinking the opposite.
I know that's what a lot of people think. Yeah.
Was your parents the same way?
Yeah, my mom was very excited because, like I said, like, she grew up in the town that I'm from. She grew up like 5 minutes away. And so she knows what it's like
Wow.
to like not be able to expand. And then she knew I wanted to do real estate. And she was like, well, think about your cap. Like, she's like, and my mom is, by the way, like, if you can't tell from what I'm saying, she's one of the smartest human beings that I know.
That's awesome.
Super smart. So she's like, well, think about your cap. Like, okay, there's, 100 homes in our town. So how far can you go?
Right.
And versus go out to Phoenix, right? It's going to take longer for sure. But, you got thousands and tens and thousands of homes to possibly get your hands on over the next, 20 years.
So
It's
true.
like, all right, man, that's why we're going to do it. And so she was really excited about it.
So that definitely could be like the wind in your sails, right?
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
the opposite, it could probably be really hard.
Yeah.
Like really, really hard.
Yeah.
Not that this is easy by any means, but having that support from your family just can make you go even
Oh,
harder,
100%.
right? So those
Yeah.
moments you guys wanted to move back, were they in your ear saying don't, or
Oh yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cool, like, one of the best things from my dad was after every phone call, he would say, "I'm your biggest fan." And that was like, that helped so much. Like, when you don't believe in yourself, to hear that from
Yeah.
somebody, and
Yeah.
he's always said, like, I'm
So
always going to be your guys' biggest fans.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
I remember too, like your dad, like he was always like kind of our vision when we lost our vision
Yeah.
because like we'd hang up the phone and because we call home a lot, but his dad was like always like, man, someday I'm gonna be visiting you guys in your mansion, with your supermodel wives. And so it's like, yeah, he really did like help us like feed the vision.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
yeah, I remember I called my mom. I was very serious about moving back, and she was like, okay, let's say it was like a Friday or something. She's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. First off, I'm going to spend 2 hours with you to remind you of everything you've overcome since you've lived there.
Wow.
And so she literally did that. We sat down for 2 hours and we talked about the day you moved there, this, and then you went through this, and then this happened, and you had a really big setback, but you overcame it. Look where you are now.
Wow.
And so that really helped. And then again, and at the end, she was like, but you know what? If you still feel this way by next Friday, come home.
Wow.
And by the end of the call, I was like, I ain't coming home.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
It was
love
like
that.
Wolf of Wall Street. Was like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not
never
leaving.
leaving. I
Yeah.
like that. So that voice is constantly driving with you guys. You know, I love that. It's your dad that is like casting that vision.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are like, it feels like they're cheering you on because maybe part of them wish they got out too. Maybe
Yeah.
they kind of wish that, and they're kind of living vicariously
I think
through
so,
you
yeah,
guys.
definitely.
So that might put a little pressure on you, but that also maybe makes you want to really
Oh,
get
yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Well,
pressure makes sense.
especially like for both of us, like how we were talking about earlier, like we would be like honestly the first ones in our families
That's
to
crazy.
really
That's awesome.
break out of the bubble and get to that level of success. So
Right.
like, yeah, I think that is definitely
It's
motivating.
generational,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
definitely motivating.
Setting our family's trajectory in a completely different way than it has gone for the last, multiple decades.
Right.
So I think that's like a pretty cool, like, yeah, you're right. Like it is pressure. Like it is like pressure on your shoulders, but like I've always said, pressure makes diamonds. Like that's so true. And
Yeah.
I'll take that kind of pressure all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the key is that you get to choose the pressure you're under, right? You most people don't know that they can make the choice, but you made the choice,
Yeah.
right? And you guys have people supporting you.
Yeah.
So when hard times do come, it's an easier decision to keep going than it is to like really really actually quit. So I love
Yeah.
that your mom had you like narrow things down, focus on the now, and look back and see your wins, right? And it's a very easy way to say, look at your confidence, like build your confidence off of what you looked at for wins, right? So building up to this point of buying this house, you guys when did you guys get this house?
About a month and a half ago now.
October,
Okay.
November. Yeah, like November, mid-November.
Yeah.
That's a big win,
Huge. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got expenses, you got to take care of yourselves and save at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's been a battle, and you fought up to this one point.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, a little bit more of the hard times of the real estate journey up to a huge win, 22 years old. I was nowhere near buying a house at 22 years old. Big win, respect to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was the biggest battle up to that point to getting that house? Financially, or it doesn't matter. Just what really was
Yeah.
holding you guys to get to that point?
A lot of things. You guys, someone go first.
Yeah, I mean, well, financially, that's
Yeah,
that's
I
a
think
big
that's
one. Yeah, that's
really
a big
that's
one.
kind
yeah.
of a big one,
That's
right?
an
You got to get
obvious
that down
one.
payment, but you guys got through it, right? So what?
Yeah, but I'll also say like the business, like I said, it's a pendulum. Like this business, and so like life is so cyclical. Like there's just so many seasons to life, and so like we would, 1 year or not even year, like we'd have 2 months span where it's like, oh my gosh, we finally made it, and then the next 2 months we're like, all right, well we have nothing.
Yeah, we're struggling. We're struggling.
we're back to nothing. And so like literally,
Yeah.
our bank account looks like stocks. It's
Yeah.
like up, down,
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
down.
Right.
And so like it's just constant. It's constant up and down and up and down and up and down. And like you've probably felt the same way.
Yes,
It's just,
100%.
That's just growing up.
Yeah.
But you don't know it at the time. And so like what really held us back was like growing the business to a point where it's like, okay, we have a lot more ups than downs is nice. And then yeah, just like the mindset of what it takes to buy a house too. Like, it's risky, but like, I guess we're in real estate and we should probably believe in our product.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see the upsides of buying a house. So.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a hard point being renters trying to sell houses.
Yeah.
Right. That's a sticking point for a lot of
my
people.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy a house from you. Do you own one?
Exactly. Yeah.
they see
We've
that.
gotten that question a couple times. Yeah.
And how did you guys combat that?
I lost the deal.
Yeah, it's really hard rebuttal.
It is.
It's really hard. I slipped up. I had a buyer consult, and it was in person at a coffee shop. And I was like, yeah, where I live, like, we have a basketball court. I said that, and she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well,
I have a
yeah.
really big house. It's a mansion.
Well, yeah, I'm doing really good for myself. So.
And so she called me out, and to be honest with you, like there really wasn't any talking. I was like, I had to put my tail down and
Oh, no.
and yeah, lost the deal.
Very interesting topic then, because there are other people your age trying to be agents, right? What can you give? What kind of advice in this particular thing that you can give them to feel some win in this world where you guys are renting and selling houses? Or is it just you take the licks?
I mean, just keep on trucking. Like, hey, if it
Don't bring it up, first of all.
Yeah.
Avoid it at all costs.
Don't bring that up.
If it happens, it happens. Like, but the reality is like you can you can believe in a product. Like if you're this young, you know, and you're probably working with somebody that's 40, 50, you know, they've been 20 before.
Right.
You know, so I think one thing you'll find though is a lot of people are, you know, really like you know, like they look at us and what we're doing and they're like, this is really cool. Like, yeah, you guys might not have a house yet. Why? Because you're 18.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to own a house.
Right.
But a lot of people were like really, you know, excited for our story, and that was a big thing, like getting to share our story. As long as we could share our story before they had any sort of rebuttals, we were fine.
That's cool.
So
Just, the confidence is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I
like,
mean,
yeah.
we were confident with our story, or we were confident with the benefits of real estate, like.
Right.
And you never know. Like we were out with a buyer last night who's worked for a bank for a while, and he's an older guy. He's a successful guy, and I was explaining seller concessions, which I would assume that he would know about that, but he didn't, and
Oh, wow.
he was so happy to hear about that. So like,
Right.
just have confidence. And
Yeah, the age is
Yeah.
out the window.
Yeah.
And whether you own a house or not is out
Yeah.
the window because you
Yeah.
have the answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, I
That's
mean, I
great.
could still sell you an Audi without driving an Audi.
It's
Right.
actually
You know,
True.
It's funny, this client last night, we sold ourselves so much that he was trying to set me up with his daughter last night, like actually.
No
So
way.
yeah.
actually, yeah. Our
Did he succeed or did he not?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's pretty, so yeah, he
Time will
succeeded.
tell.
Yeah, time will tell.
We have another showing.
Yeah.
in
She'll
May.
be at the next showing, so we'll
That's
see.
awesome.
It's hilarious.
Okay.
But yeah, no, yeah.
That's
funny.
crazy. That's really cool that he flipped the tables.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
got you guys. I love
It
that.
caught me off guard. I was not expecting it, but
He got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that rebuttal is really good, actually. Like, I don't really necessarily drive an Audi, but I can still sell you one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that could be something that could be said to somebody.
Yeah.
And that rings with me. Like, hey, you don't drive a BMW, but you can still sell me one, right?
Yeah.
So because I can feel when I posted my post about you guys coming on, everybody on your friends group liked it, and everyone's pretty much around your age, right?
Yeah.
And some of them are real estate agents, and you guys may not feel like it, but you guys are leaders in your segment, right? And maybe you do, but people are watching you, you know, and people want to see you either fail or
Yeah.
they want to see you win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
And your voice rings true. And if you guys can, you know, give some of that, what you have now, people may think, oh, you don't have enough experience. You have plenty of experience, right? It's just being able to voice the knowledge you have back to the next people, right? So I appreciate you kind of giving some of these hard signs of real estate because it is hard.
It is.
It's not easy.
No.
And the ups and downs. I have gray hair now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously because I'm older, but like I have more gray hair than I probably should.
Yeah.
Right? It's just life, like
Yeah.
you said, in seasons. So in this season, you got the house, right? You guys probably have some friends coming over. Your family might be coming soon, or have they already?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
not
Not
yet.
yet.
Couple
so
years.
Yeah.
a good season coming, right?
Yeah.
Things have started to turn. So where are you guys at now with the business? You know, what season are we in?
Yeah, it's funny. I think like this season is like, I feel like the last years we've gone like if I look at the last years like an alphabet, like it was like A, B, C, D. Now like I think we're going like D to like Z. Like this is the setback. Like this is the set apart year. Where we was like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step. Now we're taking leaps. We're not on the stones anymore. We're taking
Right.
leaps now. So, like I say this because last year, we started the year on a team, and then halfway through the year, we're like, no, actually in February 22nd, we're like, okay, we're done being on a team. We're gonna do our own thing. Well, then we kind of figured out like, okay, you change when you become the CEO, so to speak, of doing that, you treat your life as a CEO. And so we went from selling, you know, a couple houses a year to like last year from February to the end of the year. I mean, we sold like a little over around 7 million. And like we didn't expect that. Like that
No.
just like it just
Yeah.
happened. We just changed our lifestyle and we just did it. And so
Yeah.
now we have that going into it, and we have the clientele for it too.
Wow.
So this is the
I'd
Impressive,
say
you
yeah.
guys.
Starting like expanding and starting our own team was probably our best idea.
Oh, yeah.
And buying the house was probably our second best idea.
Right.
Run Club is probably our third best idea.
yeah.
So
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with all that too, like this is the first year that I can look at our book of business and be like, oh, yeah, this will be good. Like, it's not like I'm like, I don't know what's going to come.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh yeah, I know what's coming. It's
Yeah.
going to be really good. We're organized. And then, yeah, the traction with the run club too, building the community and just seeing like, hey, we might be able to churn up, a couple deals a month from
Yeah.
this is like a realistic thing.
So there's some good positive vibes
Yeah.
coming into this year.
Yeah.
No point in negative ones.
That's good. Yeah, that's
So,
very true.
yeah.
So that point of jumping on and taking on your own team, that's also kind of scary, right? You rely heavily on your brokers. I only know a little bit. They provide so many resources to
Yeah.
you. What led you up to the point of wanting to go do your own thing?
I think just like, well, for us, I think the biggest thing was just the mindset switch of like, when you're working under somebody, like, it doesn't feel like your own, like, it's not like your own baby. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I
And
see.
so, like, the mindset switch of having our own company, our names on the logo, like, this is our baby.
Right.
You treat it like that. So,
That's powerful.
yeah.
Yeah, that was on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
and I give Jacob all the credit for our branding because I wanted something because in my mind, I was looking at our team and I was like, okay, I want something that we can scale across the United States eventually, if God willing. And he was like, no, let's put our last names on it. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. And then, and he was like, no. But he was so right to get us to do that because, like, yeah, when you're driving by a house and your last name is right there, you're
Right.
like, okay, we need to do something about
Yeah.
getting this thing moved. Like,
Yeah.
we need to get this house sold,
Yeah.
or
Put-
our marketing needs
Put
to
some
look
fire
this
up your ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
You're
up
good.
your
You
ass,
can say,
yeah.
yeah, you're good.
Under your ass, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It's very true. I said it earlier. The names look really good. And
Appreciate
whether
that.
you're selling houses or you're going to be a consulting firm, it's very flexible. You can kind
Yeah.
of go in different places,
Yeah.
but it looks really good. It looks really good. So I'm really excited. I mean, I didn't know much of last year. I try keeping up with everybody. It's good to hear, from the time I met you and then
Yeah.
kind of met you guys to now it's like starting to ramp up
Oh,
for
yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you have people under you on your
Yeah.
teams already?
Yeah, we
How
got-
many people you got?
We got one more joining soon.
That's
so,
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So you really are leaders now. Like you're
Yeah.
leaders in this space.
Yeah.
And not only are you leaders in like the real estate world, but you're leaders in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, at your age, people think you can't be leaders at 22 when really children can be leaders
Yeah.
to their own parents, right?
100%.
And you guys are young but hungry, have a drive, and a lot of people my age can learn from you,
Yeah.
right? We can look back and look at you guys and say, man, like they're hungry, they're focused, they're determined,
Yeah.
right? They also live in life. Like you guys are also how to live life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe you don't feel that way, but you definitely do. You know how to live life. You know how to have fun. Those things are just as important as working really hard, right?
Yeah.
And what I've learned in life is you can work every single day, 18 hours a day, all in, end up having all the money in the world, and then looking back and saying, what did I do? What did I actually do? I just made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I can see that your grassroots from home, right? That home life. There's pros and cons to it, I'm sure. But that's all family, right? And out there you got time. And out there you can have conversations. And now you're in this hustle and bustle of life in Scottsdale and all these people moving around. But I love that you know how to live life. That's really important.
yeah.
So as I start to kind of land us here, I talk about how hard times, they always come and go, but they end up making who we are today, right? And I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to talk to the podcast is about Shack in Progress. Like we're all trying to get there, right? But there are people right now listening. They're like, man, they're at where I kind of want to be at. Maybe that's hard to believe, but there are people that want to be where you're at now. Talk about the hard times for yourself and each of your own stories and how it made you to who you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll share one big one. So we've always had really good mentors. And this was the first time in life where I was like, whoa, like that. This was the first, so I've never had anybody, I'll get to the story. So I've never had anybody in my life pass away from anything. Like, thank God, like my whole family's still here with me. I've never had anybody close to me, pass away. And so we had a really, really good mentor from the day we moved out here. Actually, we met her
Before.
while we were in high school.
Yeah.
We flew out here when we were juniors in high school for a job shadow.
Oh,
and
nice.
so we met her, and she ended up being our team leader. She started this team with us, and her name's Arlene. And so we were under her for years, and 2 years actually, and learned so much from her. Everything we know, how to build a community. Like that was
Yeah.
her. Like
I
that's
think
her
the
business.
biggest thing was like she was unbelievably good at relationship building.
Oh yeah.
So like just 2 years of watching her building relationships was massive for us.
Yeah, she really taught us that like, this is a relationship business, and here's how you go about doing it.
Mhm.
And like, as long as you can have the relationships, you don't got to worry about the business. Like that'll follow. So she taught us that, like truly. And so, anywho, fast forward the story. So we were under her team and learning from her, and the expectation was that she was going to retire and we would take over the team, and then Jacob and I would be the owners of the team, and we could expand it how we wanted to that day. But unfortunately, she suddenly got cancer, and it didn't take long, only 3 months, and she passed away. So that was the first time that Jacob and I were like, "Woof,
Wow.
Yeah.
that was heavy," and I didn't expect that. Like I had no clue how to handle that,
Right.
and so that's where we were really like, "Damn, we got to pivot. We got to figure out like, we had spent 2 years like."
Right.
This is our team. This is our branding. We're going to do this. We're going to take over this team. It's going to be gone.
Wow.
In 3 months, it's gone. So one advice that I'll give to the people listening to this podcast, if you haven't experienced it already, life is unbelievably predictable. Like you have no clue for better or for worse. Like you have no clue what's coming tomorrow. Every day is different. You're going to get something good, something bad. It's always going to happen. But be ready to pivot. Like, so when that happened, that's like kind of why we started our own team it was like, all right, like we got to figure something out now. And, yeah, so also too, like going through that experience of having someone super close to you pass away, not easy. That was my first time doing it. And yeah, so that was just a hardship. Like that's a hardship that you don't have to be in real estate to understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
You've probably had somebody close to you pass away, unfortunately. And so, yeah, you kind of just pivot and move and figure that out as you go.
That's the entrepreneur in you, like to not give up. I
Yeah.
love that.
Figure something new.
That's powerful.
I know, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. Just like all the time. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, there's been multiple times where we've almost given up, and like,
Oh, yeah.
well, even if maybe not giving up on real estate, but like giving up on Arizona, like moving back to Iowa or moving to Florida and starting real estate.
Right.
But like, you seriously, like, looking back now, if I could like see into the future and see what was coming ahead, like right ahead of when I was gonna give up, like I can't believe it. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like,
Yeah.
so like just never give up.
That's the-
Seriously.
Yeah, and that's so true because you don't know. Like you don't know when your break is. And I've heard this before, like before, we kind of felt it in our own lives, but that like it is right when you're going to give up.
Yeah,
like,
it
that
seriously is.
so true for
Like,
our lives.
You're thinking about giving up, and then a week later, something like unbelievable happens.
Yeah.
And then why not give up? Like why did you guys just not give up? That's the thing. There's a differentiator with people that I've learned, over time. Like there are people who give up,
Yeah,
and there are people who just don't.
I think.
Is there a way to explain that?
I think like one reason. I mean, there's definitely multiple reasons, but I think one definitely having each other, like
that's
having
true.
someone
That's
right
powerful.
next to you, like pushing you,
Right.
and like it'd be easy if I was alone to give up. I think a lot easier, but
True.
if I have Andrew next to me and he's willing to keep going, it's like, all right, well, I'm not giving up. I'm gonna keep going too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just as powerful as the person next to you because like that's the thing. Like there's been times where I've been like, Jacob, let's just go. Let's just go back to Iowa.
I can
like,
see this happening
Yeah, sir.
in
Yeah.
the room or something.
We've
Oh,
had
no,
we've
it-
had
it-
this conversation multiple
The
times.
eyebrow
yeah.
wipe.
Multiple-
I can see it.
Yeah. Multiple times. No, seriously. Like, I've been like, Jacob, let's go back home to Iowa. Like, here's the deal. We got good opportunities back at home. We know people moving. Like, we could have closed. That's the thing.
Oh,
For our first
no.
3 years, we would have made more money staying in Iowa
Yeah.
than we did here.
For sure.
Dang.
For sure.
That's hard.
Like,
So, yeah.
double, triple. And so it was like, why are we here? Why are we not doing that? We could go back home and like instantly not have to worry about our financial issues that we're currently in.
Right.
And there were times that I felt that way, and he was like, "Come on, like we'll be all right. Just
like-
stick through."
Drew, it's not about those 3 years in Iowa. It's about the 20 years in Arizona.
Yeah.
Think about how much more we could do in 20 years
Yeah.
in Arizona than
That's
3
hard,
years of
yeah.
Iowa. You
Yeah.
know, like it's conversations like that
For sure.
between us that.
Yeah, we've had that the other way. And it's as simple too as like you can even on like a all the time basis. Like there's like, man, I don't want to go to the gym today, and Jay was
Right.
like, come on, dude, let's go to the gym. So I'm saying, dude, you're just as
Yeah.
powerful as the
That's
people
invaluable
you're
to
around.
have in your life.
Super.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys have had your arguments in life. Like that's any friendship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you guys work past it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess before I forget, what roles do you guys play in the business? Who is what? I kind of have an idea just based off these conversations, but I don't.
Yeah.
What do you guys play in each role?
What would you say?
It's a great question.
Yeah, that's why I give it.
I know. I wish I could say we were a little more organized.
I'll take
with
a
like
stab at it.
this.
I'll take a
Yeah,
stab
yeah,
at it.
yeah.
Fair.
Let's hear you.
Yeah,
So-
what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're in the day in day out. I think you're more of like the operator of things.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a vision of like kind of where you want to go with things, but I feel like you're the operator, and then you may not feel like you are the visionary. I think you hold the vision upright. You do have a vision, but I feel like you hold it and you make sure that it stays where it needs to be, and that can be the most invaluable thing ever, because the moment you let go of that vision, it's over with, right? And I think just on the short conversation, you're very short term, like, I got to get these wins now, and which is, we need that in any business. You got to get the next wins now. But when you don't see them happen, it gets very like unforgiving. Like it just gets really hard. So your role is of more of like a fatherly figure in my mind, which I get to your dad kind of plays that in your life,
Yeah.
and you're kind of bringing that into the business. Like, hey guys, like, I see where we're at. It sucks, but let's just keep going, and we need that. And you're the guy that's like, we got to now. We're doing this now. Like, we're doing this right now. With no ifs, ands, or buts. We're doing it right now.
That's weird.
Wow.
That's weirdly spot.
Yes, that.
Are you a psychiatrist?
Seriously?
No, I'm not.
See, that's how I know you've been here and done that, because like
Yeah.
honestly, I'm gonna take that, and so when people do ask us what are our roles, I'm gonna use what you just said.
Yeah, seriously. That's that's better than what I could have like come
Oh,
up with. So
I would have never put it into words
Yeah.
like that, but that is scarily like exactly what it is. Like, yeah, I think it starts back to like when I was the original visionary of, hey, we're moving to Arizona and we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, you're very right, because I am short-minded, and I know that about myself. Super impatient person. And so like Jacob has always just been like the grounding for me, because I'm the first person that's like, I'm going all in.
Right.
And then I'm also going all out.
yeah.
You go when you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
All right, I'm backing out.
Yeah.
I'm in and I'm out. And Jacob is not. Jacob
Yeah.
is not that. So yeah, but he also knows how to go all in. You know, so it's like we both go all in, and he kind of keeps the sails up, and I
Yeah.
kind of keep the
I
engine moving.
think like another big thing along with that is I would say I'm a little more like, not like negative, but I'm a little more realistic, and he's a little more like naive, but like
You need a little bit of both.
Yeah, you need a little bit of
Yes,
both,
you do.
because there's positivity in that,
Right.
like being a little naive and like really thinking like, even if it's not possible, like thinking it's
The
possible. Like you need
naiveness
that.
got you here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You need that, and you need a little bit of realistic.
Yes, you do.
In
100%.
your life.
That's
So
really
yeah,
true.
I think that balances well between us as well.
Yeah.
That's a really
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Like we look, like I will always inflate our numbers.
yeah.
the sales guy.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
Drew, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but this is what it really is. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
There is-
awesome.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we're probably gonna sell 14, 15 million this year. And
Like,
he's like,
whoa,
no,
whoa,
we
whoa.
only have 6 on the board. I'm like,
Yeah.
You
But
see
it-
that pie over there in the sky? Like,
I would love that. Trust me, I would love that, Drew. But
No,
yeah.
and then that's most people get to live with only one of those things.
That's
And
really true.
If you were in a business by yourself,
Yeah.
it wouldn't pan out the same way.
Yeah.
If you were by yourself, it wouldn't pan out the same way, right?
Yeah.
The short term gratification is definitely needed. Like that hard push. You have to have that. And the moments where things are hard, your back's up against the wall, you need that guy to be like, sorry, we're making this decision right now. Whether it's good or bad, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Because the indecision And the longer you take without making decisions is when you don't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But to hold true to one thing is another like a whole different conversation. I think that speaks to your triathlon athletic background.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Marathons are completely different than a mile sprint,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And you holding that marathon is in your mind translate to business. It will bring success. But again, without your short-term successes,
Yeah.
it's hard to move.
Without
right?
a couple sprints in there, like
Exactly.
you're gonna get stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
Unbelievable way to put that. That's crazy.
You started off by saying you haven't ran in a mile, and he's running.
Yeah.
I
so
know,
it kinda
yeah.
like goes like-
I was like, that was beautiful.
like,
that was
literally
poetic.
works.
That was
Yeah.
that was.
And he
poetic.
was a sprinter in
Yeah.
sprinter in
I
high
did the
school,
100-meter
so,
dash.
yeah.
So there you go.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Would you say you're more like me or more like him?
I'm more like you.
Yeah.
I have the dopamine hit of like when someone says I'm ready to move forward, I'm like, yes, I got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But then when I get a week of like dry, nothing's going on, I start to panic. Like, okay, hey, what are you doing? Why are you not doing this? Like, I start getting the team's
Yeah.
listening, but like, I get a little bit like, hey, where are we at? What's going on? If I had someone be like, which is my wife. That's my wife.
There you
She's the person that it's like, who's that? Oh, it's my wife. She's like, take a deep breath. Like everything's okay.
Yep.
It's gonna work out.
Yep.
That constant voice means more to me than anyone coming in saying, I'm gonna buy everything from you. Because that's not reality.
Yeah.
Reality isn't it that you're gonna sell 100 homes a day.
Yeah.
Right? That's just not reality. And you need that real
need
voice
that,
in
yeah.
your voice to keep it going. So I'm more like you. As I get older, I try to keep this
Yeah.
a little bit more in the forefront.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change anything about you guys.
Yeah.
Because 20 years from now, maybe you guys get a little bit of both, but the success that you will have, because it's going to be there, is solely because of this
Yeah.
right here.
And then
The teamwork.
And we'll look back and appreciate each other for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how conversations are without, or without me here in the room, but that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? The short term, got to post this, got to put this up, may not feel like you're getting anything from it now, but you definitely see that we just got to keep going to
Yeah.
it, right? And it'll
For
pay
sure.
off. So great. This was great so far. So
cool.
I want to kind of land us here. I always do a rapid fire round of questions. Well, actually, right before I do that, do you
Yeah.
have any last words that you want to say to the people listening? There's a wide range of people that are listening, right? Do you want to say something to the future? Actually, I do. What do you want to say to the future Andrew 5 years, 10 years from now? What do you want to say to him?
Don't worry so much about money.
Hey, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just remember how far you came. Like remember the time you had $0 in your bank account. Like, because it's really hard to remember that kind of stuff when it's your life. Like for example, my mom, she watches my life like a movie, and so for her, she's like, no, remember the scene, and I'm like, no, I don't remember that scene
Yeah, because you're right here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and I think that's probably always how it's gonna be. But like, yeah, and like I said, don't worry about money so much. Like I even still find myself like, and you got to be grateful for what you have. I read this book called The Gap in the Gain, and it was about this. One of the things was about the CEO who was so frustrated because he only hit $8 million. He didn't hit 10. And he lost his family for it. His wife left him. Like, cause he wrecked his life on that because he hit 8, not 10.
Wow.
Instead of saying, wow, I hit
Thankful
8.
for 8. Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
Yeah. And so keeping that in the forefront, and easier said than done for me. Like there's still, times where it's like, all right, like we're going to, tighten up the hatches. Like those times still come. And so just focus less, live a little more, travel more,
I like that.
and be a good father when that time comes.
That's great. I love that. I think you're going to hit all those things.
Appreciate
That's
that.
beautiful.
Jacob, what about
I do. I really like that, to tell him to remember back in these years.
Right.
That's like the most important part.
Yeah.
I think I've heard too many stories of people who forget that.
Mm.
So yeah, I like that. Remembering back to these times
Okay.
and remembering the struggles and just how fun the hustle really is.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the hustle, sometimes you can forget that as well.
100%.
But I think in the future, looking back, you you really enjoy that. So
I agree.
Yeah. Also, and I'm not even just saying this, we've been on a handful of podcasts. This is easily the best podcast.
oh yeah,
No,
seriously.
like I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
Like this is easily the
100%.
best podcast I've ever done, hands down.
Thanks.
I don't know if we'll do a better one than this. And,
You got a long road ahead, Lord
yeah,
willing, but
well,
yeah.
but I hope that our podcast that we create mirrors half of what you
Yeah,
do.
seriously.
So,
Cool.
very good job.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm having fun seeing
That's
and
good.
talking with many. That's all I do is talk to people, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a joy. And just to touch on, you making sure that you're in the hustle and you try to enjoy looking back, right? That's been my theme the last few weeks and months is like, I'm gonna get to the destination. I hope so, right?
You will.
But yeah, but the thing is like, what's the destination worth if I never got to live in the moment now?
Yeah,
And my whole
exactly.
life has been not really knowing what I'm doing and never being present. And for you guys being in the hustle at your ripe age of 22, you could be 33 tomorrow. So I love that you guys are really making it a point to focus, like enjoying now,
Yeah.
going to California. You need to go travel.
I know. Now it's my turn for a vacation. So
yeah,
I
go
get
somewhere.
I get next. So
Yeah, do something, enjoy
Yeah.
it because we're never promised tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Money comes and goes. You can make $1 million, you can lose $1 million,
Yeah.
right? But time's what we have now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, my mom, this has always stuck with me. So she said, "Oh my gosh, this you should have my mom on this podcast."
yeah.
Hey, mom, if you're listening,
She's most of my words, but
Yeah.
she is listening for sure. And so one thing she told me a long time ago was that when you die, your gravestone is going to have your name, the year you were born, the year you died, and a dash in between. What did you do in that dash? Like,
Jeez.
was that dash worth it?
Right.
And that dash it could be this long, it could be this long.
Wow.
And
But-
I'll add to it. It doesn't have how much money you had in
I
your
was
bank
literally
account
just
on
thinking
it.
the
Yeah.
same thing because I
Yeah.
thought that's where you were
Yeah.
going. You were on the dash, which is so true.
That's
Yeah.
But
good.
for everybody listening to this, most of us are entrepreneurs. Most of us are out here hustling, trying to make money, right? Most of us don't want to work for anyone. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the people that we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
And it's so true. What did we do in that dash? But the amount of money I die with ain't
It's not gonna
if
be
you
posted
want it
on
on
there.
there, that's kind of weird. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're not gonna die with our net worth on that
Yeah.
tombstone, right?
Yeah.
And the lives that you guys affect are the people that you sell the houses to, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna make your money, but it's the people that you affect,
Yeah.
the people you talk to. So huge. And we're gonna do this again in a longer time.
Oh, yeah.
And we're gonna look back, right? And we say, hey, Andrew and Jake were on this podcast and they just got their house and now they're on their 10th or whatever the case is, right?
Yeah, I'm
Then what have we
I'm
done
already
then?
looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, good. Awesome. All right, rapid fire round. I am gonna go ask one question, and then we'll go Andrew, Jacob. So it's like
Okay.
just fire it off, and I don't want you to think too much about it. It's just some questions. Ready? They're fun questions. Pizza or spaghetti?
Pizza.
No, ooh, nice.
Oh, I go spaghetti all the way. Yeah.
What?
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
the-
pasta is my thing.
No,
Really?
no.
Yeah.
You can't say pasta. He said spaghetti. There's no. There's
That's
no
all
Wait,
pasta, right?
Wait, I just said spaghetti. What are you talking about?
Well, me because you asked the question. Right? So pizza, I'm thinking, chicken, barbecue ranch, pepperoni, taco.
Yeah.
And for him, just to choose spaghetti, you're not saying chicken Alfredo.
Okay, that's it. That's really
So-
deep for this question.
You know what? That he is. This is exactly how you guys operate. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like spaghetti. It's spaghetti, right? This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're like kind of looking
Did
at the
you
bigger
mean
picture.
all pasta or just spaghetti?
Yeah.
So is it spaghetti or pizza?
Okay, then pizza. I'll go
okay,
pizza.
okay.
You're right. You're right.
Fair enough.
I'm
fair
also a
enough.
salesman.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke.
Okay. All right. A walk on the beach or an early morning hike?
Walk on the beach.
That's tough.
I just got done doing it, so it's pretty
Yeah,
fresh.
I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna go early morning hike.
Early morning
Yeah,
hike.
yeah.
I can
I
definitely
like
see
that.
that.
I like
I was
that.
curious to hear this one. Would you rather make $1 million once or upfront, or would you rather have $15,000 a month for the rest of your life?
Oh, $15,000 a month the rest of my life.
Interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
15,000 a month
Okay.
for the rest
Why?
of my life.
Why is it this? Everyone give your answer. So.
What am I gonna do with $1 million? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I was just so. Real quick,
No,
my
you're
girlfriend and I were on the drive up to California. We were talking, and we asked ChatGPT, ask us a bunch of random questions to talk about on this road trip because we were very bored. And it was, would you spend a year away from each other to get $1 million? And I thought about it, and I was like, no, No, because like, what am I gonna do with $1 million? Yeah, I could tell you I'd go buy Airbnbs, right? So,
Right.
but like, no, it's just not attractive to me. It's not attractive to me to have
Interesting.
that much money at once. I would rather like, plus $15,000 a month. I mean, who can't live off of that?
Well,
So
yeah.
to me, that's all I want is financial freedom. I don't want $1 billion. Like I don't care. I don't care to have a massive house someday. I don't care to drive a Lamborghini. I used to, but I don't now.
Right.
In the couple years that I've grown up,
Right.
not really materialistic anymore. I would rather just be able to chill. I'd rather be able to spend time with my kids. I would rather be able to.
So 15,000 a month gives you that breathing room
Oh, for sure.
instead of worrying about $1 million coming in and
Yeah.
stressing about that.
I think,
Well-
I mean, typical realtor. I mean, what, $1 million here? Let's say you're in Phoenix, you can buy 1, maybe 2 homes with that.
True.
But $15,000 a month, that like in my head, that's like unlimited houses in my head over time.
I see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So yours 15,000.
Oh, yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
I like that. I like that.
and I would put it into XRP. XRP to the moon, guys.
Oh no! Oh no!
Buy XRP.
Crypto.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, you guys are at like 320 right now,
Yeah.
317. So yeah, that's a good one. That's coming up. Football or basketball?
Football.
Basketball for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love
All right.
basketball.
All right. I didn't know that. Stocks or crypto?
Crypto.
I think I'll go crypto too.
Crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto's like new money.
Yeah.
Stocks old money.
Yeah.
And I always get some people come in and they're like, I like stocks because I don't know what crypto is.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Right.
Crypto is the
They're
hype.
like the
now,
older
yeah.
guys. You know what I mean? So
We
yeah.
had that conversation this morning.
Yeah, we did. We actually did.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
crypto.
funny.
Okay. This was a good one. Lamborghini or Ferrari?
Oh man, that's like asking stocks and crypto.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I would always, if you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have always said Lamborghini, but I'm gonna say Ferrari now because it's classy.
It's the beard talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's classy. It's timeless, and I'll appreciate a red Ferrari in 30 years. I won't appreciate a Lamborghini in 30 years.
That's huge. That speaks a lot.
That's good. Great minds think alike. I think I'm going Ferrari too.
Ferrari.
I like the classiness as well. Of a
I think maybe this is a
Ferrari.
real estate thing talking too, right?
Yeah.
Like you talk to different clientele. Maybe you talk to a guy with a Ferrari.
Mhm.
He holds himself a certain way.
Yeah.
A guy with a Lamborghini holds himself a different way.
So,
So
yeah.
I think your
definitely.
clientele mostly Ferrari guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and living in Scottsdale, like generally the people I see in Lamborghinis are like young,
XRP holders.
yeah. The license plate says Bitcoin. Yeah,
That's
no.
exactly it.
And Ferraris, I just see I picture
Cigars.
cigar,
cigar,
older guy, white
yeah.
beard, sweater.
Yes.
Hey, not to be boring, but that seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
I respect that more than I respect that.
That's a dying breed.
Yeah.
Right?
It is a dying
So
breed.
some of us have to keep that going.
Yeah,
So
very Great Gatsby.
yes,
Yes.
100%.
One of my favorite movies.
Great movie.
That's very
Seriously.
true. Yeah, that is a good movie. Last question. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Probably teleportation.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think you're the first to say that one.
I would say that because again, I've said a couple times, I just want to travel. I want to make money and travel,
I like it.
and that's why another reason why it's at $15,000 a month, so I could travel.
That's a good one.
And so, yeah, I would want to be able to go anywhere, anytime, and not have to worry about a 5-hour drive to San
Teleportation.
Diego.
I like it. You're the first one to say that one.
Dude. Yeah. Okay. Mine is kind of similar, but I would go like the Flash. So speed,
Yeah.
which would be kind of like that, but
Right.
also I just think that'd be unbelievably fun.
Yeah. I agree with that. There's
Yeah.
still a little bit of a journey to it.
Yeah.
Whatever you can actually
You
take
could,
in.
you could still get anywhere you wanted
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a Flash.
Well, again, short term, long term.
Exactly. It's so true. That's so
The
true.
theme is true.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
That's
well,
funny.
I've genuinely enjoyed having you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Would love to have you guys in the next few months. Maybe some success, more success
Yeah.
comes in, and we do another time. But either way, thank you so much for coming, driving out here an hour. It means a lot to me. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment below. I'll have their Instagrams attached, and you guys can follow them. But thank you guys.
Thank you, man.
Shaq, thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.